Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. This is the tale of the pop culture spectrum.
See, I was thinking that the tale of two siblings who have nothing better to do on a Wednesday night.
That works too.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, that voice. Well, first of all, welcome to the pop culture spectrum. I am your host, Dan Experience, and we are continuing our summer of Snick. In case you didn't get it from that intro, we are doing an entire episode about Are You Afraid of the Dark? And that voice that you heard a few seconds ago was our special Snick correspondent joining us again, my sister Melissa.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the show, and thank you for coming.
Of course.
Last week we did the ranking of all of the Snick shows, and you and I both had Are You Afraid of the Dark as our number one show.
Will always be my number one show.
It's fantastic. You had mentioned that you were just watching some earlier. I was just watching a couple of episodes yesterday. There's a certain nostalgia, rose-tinted glasses looking through. I still love it, though.
Me too, yeah.
And it's still like, if I were a kid, I would still think that it was scary. Who knows what the fuck kids are scared by these days, but there was one of the things that I love about going back and watching 90s shows, and I get this when I go back and watch like Saved by the Bell or Boy Meets World. 90s fashion fucking cracks me up.
Yes.
I love it so much.
It is great. It's been making a comeback. So
is it really?
Yeah, everything does.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed rewatching it is I noticed the special effects, like the way that they use the camera to make the special effects that they couldn't do. Like they didn't have CGI or that kind of stuff, and it was I especially with the Pinball Wizard episode when they were making the throne bigger. I noticed like the camera shake and the angles, and that's something I noticed more now than I ever would have noticed when I was 8, 9, 10.
Yeah. Well, so Are You Afraid of the Dark was a Canadian show.
Yep.
And this is an odd thing about a lot of Nickelodeon's programming. Back in the 90s was a lot of their shows were Canadian shows. And I don't think a lot of people realize Vancouver is actually like one of the biggest filmmaking cities in the world. It's like
any Supernatural fan knows.
Yeah. Like there are any show that you watch on like MeTV or anything like that, it's all shot in Vancouver.
Yep.
It's essentially the Canadian Hollywood.
Yep.
But in the 90s, Nickelodeon had a lot of fucking Canadian shows. You Can't Do This on Television was a Canadian show.
Was it?
Yeah.
See, now I watched Degrassi, and I knew that was a Canadian show. But for some reason, yes.
Didn't he play a wheelchair kid
He
that got
did.
shot?
I was just about to say that.
Did you really watch Degrassi?
I really did. When Drake was in the wheelchair, I totally saw that as it was happening.
When was this show on?
I don't remember. Okay. Why do you want me to remember? I can ask trusty Google.
No, don't worry about it.
All right.
I forgot.
This is not a Degrassi show.
Oh yeah, but it was kind of a lower budget show.
Oh, totally.
So they had to get creative with their special effects.
But I always loved B horror, so this was B ghost stories,
well, that's
and it's
one of the
great.
things that I love about B horror, and actually we have Evil Dead 2 on my TV right now as we're recording this. One of the things that I love about B horror is how creative they get with their special effects. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 were fucking masterful with it.
Yes, absolutely.
And I loved Bruce Campbell went into it some in If Chins Could Kill. Some of the different techniques and stuff that they use on such a shoestring budget.
It's been a long time since I read that, but yeah.
Me too. It's a fucking good read.
It's why Bruce Campbell is my favorite actor ever.
Yeah. His birthday was only like 2 days ago.
It was,
wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Bruce Campbell. I'm sure you're listening.
I love you if you are.
You brought up the tale of the Pinball Wizard.
Yes.
Which is going to segue into, do you have a favorite episode? Because my favorite episode is The Tale of the Pinball Wizard.
It's a tie between that and The Lonely Ghost.
Okay. Was that one of the first ones in the first season?
It was, yes, episode 3 in the first season.
Watch that yesterday. Mine is actually, Tale of the Pinball Wizard is number 1. My very close number 2 is Tale of the 13th Floor.
I didn't watch that one recently.
I haven't watched it recently, but I remember it creeped me the fuck out.
I can't
remember. I don't remember exactly the premise, but these two kids are in this building and everything is all like bright and cheery and stuff, but you get that feeling that there's something sinister going on underneath. And I think it ended with aliens. I don't remember. I'm going to have to rewatch it, which you'd think I would do as show prep, but I didn't. Anyone that listens to this show knows that I don't do show prep. But yeah, it creeped me the fuck out. And Pinball Wizard creeped me the fuck out too. And this is one of the things that I really fucking love about Are You Afraid of the Dark? They were not afraid to have an unhappy ending.
Yes.
They had multiple episodes, and Tale of the Pinball Wizard was one of them.
But I don't know. Would that be unhappy? Because any like video game nerd would love to be in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would love to be in
there. Sometimes you want
there.
to fucking go to bed.
Well, I guess.
Or have a Cinnabon.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I guess.
Oh, he was in the mall.
Yeah, I was gonna say he totally could have broken into. Yeah, but one thing that I noticed rewatching them is that there's always an asshole that gets knocked down a peg or two. And
Oh,
like
yeah.
I didn't catch on to that the first time
Tale
around.
of the Lonely Ghost was that.
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
That really just ghastly looking ginger girl.
Yes, yeah.
The one I think that was right before that too, the Tale of Laughing in the Dark.
Yes,
was
yes.
also
Another
an
a
asshole.
ginger.
Yes,
It was
that looked like, and I have in my notes here, he looked like a young Daryl Hall from Hall and Oates.
That's hilarious. I actually did take notes while I was watching that.
Oh, nice! Look at you. Go.
Well,
First,
okay. Back to
so I guess I should have done this at the very beginning. Anyone that didn't watch Are You Afraid of the Dark? The premise of the show was this group of teenagers called the Midnight Society got together every week and they told each other scary stories around a campfire. And it was basically an anthology horror series for young adults, I guess. And the thing that struck me as interesting was at the very beginning of the very first episode, the main guy whose name I don't remember.
Gary,
thank you. Was talking about the Midnight Society, and he was like, we don't go to the same school. We don't have the same friends. We don't hang out, whatever, except for this one time a week. How the fuck did these kids know each other? Because this was before the internet.
I bet they met at the mall.
What?
No, I don't know. The Pinball Wizard was stuck in my head.
On this, and that was your theory?
No, that's not.
Okay.
I actually, no, my theory gets totally blown out of the water because not exactly. One thing I noticed is that not only that, they are from very different cliques.
Oh, yeah. So Gary's a fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Obviously.
A nerd that likes sports, though.
Does he?
And his little brother joins. His little brother actually, well, yeah, if you notice closely, like he does like some sports. But my husband's a nerd that likes sports, so whatever. Yeah. It happens.
I'm a nerd that likes sports.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm like, what? Who's ever heard of such a
Because
thing?
you don't think of Gary as like a sports guy. But yeah, his little brother, I believe, is actually the one who kept it going.
Because they did bring it back it ran from, I want to say, like 94 to 97 or something like that. And they brought it back for a season or two in 99/2000. Was that his little brother?
I think so. I'm pretty sure it was, if I'm remembering my characters correctly.
That revival or whatever. I was gonna say reboot, but they are rebooting it. But anyway, starred a young Alicia Cuthbert, who would go on to play the most annoying character in all of 24, Special Agent Jack Bauer's daughter, Kim Bauer.
I barely watched 24.
Love 24.
But, yeah.
Fucking hated Kim Bauer. But anyway, back to Gary, the nerd. In one of the later seasons/episodes, it's revealed that his grandfather was actually the one that started the Midnight Society.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that it was his little brother that continued it on.
Yeah.
Nice. But I mean, just because they don't go to different high schools doesn't mean that they didn't meet through. I mean, high schools, one, they have rivals. They do. So if any of them played sports, the one guy would have played sports. I can't remember his name. They could have met through that.
The guy that was initiated in the first episode? He seems like a sports player.
I mean, yeah, could have been. I mean, there are multiple ways that they could have.
Yeah, but I
just
mean,
think...
okay, but think about it for a second, how this, and I'm obviously putting way too much thought into this.
It's all right.
But think about it. Okay, so you're Gary. You're like, all right, my grandpa had this Midnight Society thing where they all got together in the woods and told scary stories. I'm going to do this again.
Maybe Gary's creeping to find people for his Midnight
Holy
Society.
Shit, he's like Samuel L. Jackson in Unbreakable.
Yes.
I like that theory. We're going to go with
All
that.
right, let's do it. Gary, by the way, Ross Hall is a weatherman in Canada, as I like to call it.
Oh, all right.
And openly gay.
Oh,
so
well,
yay.
good for you,
He was
Ross
my
Hall.
he was my favorite.
He struck me as a bit of a queer.
Well, what's funny is like before I even knew what that was, I was still a fag hag. Like, yeah, I have been my whole life. Didn't even realize it.
Okay, so that's funny because actually, most of the time when I revisit older shows, I have a lot of holy shit, it's that person from that thing. Either it's from a thing that came before it, or more likely a thing that came after it. Going back and watching these, and then I went and I looked on IMDb. None of these fucking people, not only the Midnight Society, but people that starred in the storytelling part, none of them ever did anything before, and none of them ever did anything after. It was a whole lot of, who the fuck are you?
They're the Midnight Society.
And that's all they've ever...
all they need to be.
Yeah,
they have obviously stuck with us. And as long as the internet's around, they will be forever immortalized as the Midnight Society.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that would be the peak of my career. If I
guess. One of the girls that was in it, the blonde girl...
I can't remember her name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
She looks like she was in something else.
She was.
Which I'm sure she was in something else. But I IMDb'd her and nothing jumped out at me.
Oh, what was... Sam? Yeah, that was her name. Oh, see, I watched... Oh, my God. Yeah, she... No, was that Sam? Sam was in Reba. God,
yeah, I definitely
I used to watch Reba all the time. It's actually pretty funny.
I doubt that.
I mean, we're different people, whatever.
Yeah.
It had... Oh, she was...
You also love Melissa and Joey.
Yes, I did. See, like How I Met Your Mother, Gossip Girl, these are things that you wouldn't watch, but that other people definitely watched. So, like, Reba was on for... Reba had 125 episodes, so people were watching it.
Know.
Yeah, no, she's the only one of them, it seems. Oh, not another teen movie? You've never seen that movie?
Oh, I've seen that.
Okay, yeah, she was in that. That was hilarious.
Okay.
But, so yeah, she seems
starring
to be...
Chris Evans before he was Captain America.
Nice.
He was the quarterback in that movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the little brother was in Mean Girls. That's fun. He seems to have done quite a lot.
What little brother?
What was his name on Tucker? I think that
Gary's little brother.
Now I need to look up and make sure that I'm questioning myself. But anyway,
wait. Now I need to look up Gary's little brother. Maybe I didn't get to the episodes that he was in. Because I know Mean Girls front and back. I fucking love that movie.
He was Jason in Mean Girls, is what it says. Tucker was. He was the younger. I think Tucker. Let me look.
A lot of good radio silence here on a podcast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to edit that out. Yeah, Tucker, Gary's younger brother and the youngest member of the Midnight Society. Due to his age, he's often portrayed as youthfully obnoxious. His stories tend to involve family relationships that are at first sour but grow in strength in the face of adversity, possibly reflecting his relationship with his brother Gary.
My God. I need to see a picture.
And then after Gary left, he took over his place as the president of the Midnight Society. And once Tucker is in charge, he's less of a brat and more of a serious leader like his older brother. He's the only character to appear in both generations of the Midnight Society.
How about that?
See?
Oh, yeah, I remember this guy from Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Played by Daniel DeSanto.
Yes. Yay. My memory still works. Any youngins out there who are listening, yeah. You start to question your memory as you get older.
Mean Girls was a great movie. I love Mean Girls. Have you ever seen Mean Girls?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Multiple times.
Once again, we're getting off track.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I did. Okay, so we've answered my question of how these kids know each other. It's because Gary is some sort of creepy supervillain kind of guy that stalked these kids out. My question is, the first one, like the first kid that he got to join the Midnight Society, did he just... like, hey, meet me in the woods, and then it was just the two of them around a campfire. One of them was
Sam.
Blindfolded.
Yeah, it was Sam. He was like, because he always had a crush on, like, Sam, meet me in the woods. And she was dumb enough to go along because 90s girls did that shit.
My other question, beyond how they know each other, is where the fuck did they get all the gunpowder? Because every single week, it's submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I give you the tale of the blah, 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 and then they throw gunpowder into the fire.
It was the 90s. It was a lot easier.
This was pre 9/11.
Exactly. It was a lot easier to get gunpowder back then when you were in high school. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's just assume that if it was in the family, see, I can fill in blanks all day long because it's what I do.
Sure.
Yeah, if his grandfather started the Midnight Society, he may have very well stocked up. So then Gary has in his basement these crates
his grandpa was this crazy old doomsday militia man.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. So the very first episode of the series was the tale of the Phantom Cab?
Yes.
Yes. And this one had Dr. Vink in it.
Vink.
Yes, not Fink. Dr. Vink.
Yes.
Who was a reoccurring character, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in multiple.
Also looked like Hagrid from Harry Potter.
Exactly. Yes, he did.
Because I was watching it last night. I'm like, this guy fucking looks like Hagrid from Harry Potter.
Yep.
He was also in the very next episode, the Tale of the Laughing in the Dark. He was the guy that ran the spook show, which they kept calling it a spook show. They used the word spook a lot, which made me very uncomfortable. It was very problematic.
I didn't notice it. That's hilarious.
One of the things though about the Tale of the Phantom Cab, the premise is these kids get lost in the woods. They stumble upon Dr. Vink's weird little fucking rape cabin or whatever.
The woods are awful. Yeah, anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
And Dr. Vink, his kink, and I'm not here to kink shame, but his kink is asking people riddles, and if they get it wrong, he takes body parts from them.
Yeah.
Which is, look, it's a weird kink. I don't quite get it.
I mean, that's why it's a kink,
I guess.
because most people aren't supposed to get it.
That's true. But anyway, so the riddle is, what is visible to the naked eye? Do you have?
I do.
Please.
What's weightless can be seen by the naked eye, and if put in a barrel, will make it lighter. Okay,
so this is the riddle, which look, I'm 35 years old. I'm not like bragging that I knew the answer to the riddle, but it doesn't seem like that crazy hard of a riddle. But everybody in the Midnight Society got real fucking pissed off at the guy telling the story. They're like, you can't have an unsolvable riddle in your story. That's cheating. And I don't understand why they gave any kind of a fuck. And first of all, hold your goddamn horses. The story's not over. Don't you think maybe it'll get some kind of resolution in the third act? But also, even if the riddle was unsolvable, what the fuck does that have to do with the story?
I don't.
They got really
people
upset.
Need answers.
I guess.
Yeah, as somebody who is perfectly fine with ambiguity, like people get so annoyed when they can't figure shit out, and I sit back and laugh at them because
I get pretty annoyed too. But that one, I don't.
Because they needed some kind of like break in the tension for. Yeah,
I guess
it was one of the, I don't know what the technical term is, but
for a break in tension.
Yeah, or like when you're your audience can't see my hand motions.
No, but I can.
Yeah, you can. I talk about anyway. Yeah. Moving on.
Okay.
Yeah, but what bothered me about that episode is at the very end where like they are about to crash and the kid's like, I know it. I know the answer. Yes. And he says it like 5 more times.
And then repeats the entire riddle instead of just saying the
I'm like, dude, seriously?
Yeah.
That's what annoyed me. Not that they were annoyed about like, just say the fucking answer.
Yeah.
Seriously.
No, I noticed that too, and it annoyed me. One of the funny things, the 2 kids in that episode were such bad actors.
Oh, yeah.
There are 2 separate parts in that episode where there's a zoom in on the face screaming, and they both have the most uninterested looks on their face. Like, they're supposed to be screaming in terror, and, like, their face is just like, But
that's kind of why I love it, because it's so bad.
Okay, any other notable episodes that you remember enjoying?
Well, if we go talk about the Lonely Ghost, because let's go to the second one with Zebo the Clown.
Zebo the Clown.
Because one thing that first off,
Hold on. Is
okay.
one of your questions, where did this kid get the cigars?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, so at the end of this episode, the premise of the episode is there's like this fun house, spook house that they keep calling it. And legend has it that Zebo the clown haunts this house, and Zebo was a real clown that smoked cigars and tried to rob the money from the fun house and got killed by the police, I think, or something like. No. His cigars caught it on fire. And he was caught in the fire. So at the end of the episode, I'm fast forwarding here a little bit, but the ghost of Zeba the clown is pissed off at a young Daryl Hall because he stole his nose, and as a peace offering, this 14-year-old kid brings a box of cigars to Zeba the clown.
Yeah.
How the fuck did he get these cigars? And it's not like he went immediately from his house to the fun house. Like he just swung by the Wawa and picked up a box of cigars.
Yeah, because and it's not like he could have just taken his time because he was obviously under pressure.
Yes.
Because Zebo was going to kill him.
Yes.
The only thing I can think is maybe his dad had a box of cigars sitting around. I don't know.
Maybe.
But
No. That wouldn't have worked because we see him go out the window.
okay, fair enough. Yeah, I have no.
He stopped somewhere and bought those cigars.
Yeah, he did, or he stole them.
Could
he didn't
be.
seem
Could
like
be, yeah.
Didn't seem like quite the upstanding citizen. I don't know.
So did you have other notes about this?
Well, the other thing that I really liked about this episode is the fact that we never actually see the clown stalking him, which is what makes it creepy. Because even though it is, it's all implied that, the clown is stalking him, but the ending is ambiguous enough that even the kids, after they've concluded the story, even they have different theories of what could have happened.
Yeah.
So, and I like that. I like that creepiness factor that you don't actually see. Because sometimes the in your face is good, but that's kind of like the psychological horror of what's actually good. Is the kid crazy?
And that's why I think that the show worked so well.
Exactly.
Is it did a lot of that kind of stuff. It played with your expectations, like we were talking about earlier, where you don't know for certain you're getting a happy ending. And this is a Nickelodeon show,
right?
And for a lot of children, we discussed last week how we had already had experience with horror movies, but for a lot of children going into this, they're not going to be expecting, there's no happy ending, or there's this weird cycle that they're fucking with me psychologically. I'm not used to that shit.
Right. Which is, I don't know, might explain why I'm so messed up as an adult, but no. Well, at the same time that this was airing, also Tales from the Crypt was airing, and I would watch them both.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Tales
from the Crypt. And I both equally. And Tales from the Crypt was a lot more... it was for adults.
Yeah.
I had to stay up past my bedtime and sneak to watch it, but I did.
Yeah.
So
maybe for Halloween I should have you come to do a Tales from the Crypt episode, because I'd love to go back and watch some Tales from the Crypt. But yeah, lost track of what I was saying.
We were talking about Zebo.
We were talking about Zebo. Yeah, well, happens almost every episode to me.
It's all right. But even going into the very next episode was the Lonely Ghost episode. And even then, the ending, I could argue, is a little ambiguous because we see her stopping Granny and telling her, hey, come, your dead daughter is in this house. But does she really stop Granny, or is this girl and the friends just fucking with the ginger bitch? I don't know if you watched that one.
I did. I don't get what you're saying.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty cut and dry. The dead girl was in the mirror.
Yeah, but was she? She could have, I don't know.
We saw her in the mirror.
Well, yeah. But at the end, when all of a sudden it disappears, you have to ask yourself, did it all really happen, or are they just fucking with the ginger bitch? Because she was stuck... She's just stuck in the closet.
But I see no reason to think that none of it. There was nothing that indicated that this stuff didn't actually happen.
Not that it didn't happen, but okay, I don't know. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't think that one was a very ambiguous ending.
No, not necessarily. It could have gone either. I think it could have gone either way.
I just don't see any evidence for it.
Yeah, well, I'd have to write it out because...
what are all these notes?
Oh, well, no, the other thing was just listing the gothic tropes I noticed in The Lonely Ghost because... Oh, so, yeah. Like the haunted house, the silent ghost, the crazy old lady.
Well, there were a lot of things that Are You Afraid of the Dark basically lifted plots from like the Tale of the Twisted Claw was just
The Monkey's Paw.
yeah, the Monkey's Paw. The Tale of the X-Ray Specs, which I love, was essentially They Live.
Right, yeah.
Which is an awesome movie. Rest in peace, Roddy Piper.
Yeah, I forgot he died.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Wrestlers do that. Wrestlers die real early.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wrestlers and porn stars both die very early.
Never noticed.
Yeah,
but
usually
now
for different reasons.
Yeah.
Usually with with wrestlers, it's because they've put their body through so much and they're addicted to painkillers or have some kind of weird ass roid rage or their heart just explodes. Usually with porn stars, it's suicides and drug overdoses.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought you were gonna say. But.
And then the question becomes: Did doing porn drive them to be broken, or does porn attract broken people? I think it's a little of both.
Yeah, possibly.
I think it's a lot of both, actually. Like, no mentally healthy person decides to do porn.
True. Yeah, that's fair.
Wow, we're talking. Okay,
yeah.
back to our
back to Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay, so yeah, what exactly are gothic tropes? Okay, so for everybody listening, Melissa is a English professor. Is that what?
In training. They
don't need to know that.
Yes, they did. I'm a PhD student. I'm a writing professor at the moment. But yeah.
Okay, so she knows all kinds of fancy shit that I don't know, such as gothic tropes.
Yeah, I study 19th century Gothic literature is mostly what I study. And Gothic tropes are the things that you will find in Gothic literature. Like what I listed in The Lonely Ghost was the haunted house. So you're usually going to find a haunted house that's like, in literature, it's usually like a castle or some kind of... The Victorian mansion is very... popular for contemporary Gothic. Then the ghost story was huge in this time. The crazy old lady, there's a trope of a crazy old lady who is usually like locked in an attic or some shit. And they had the crazy old lady, the granny in this
Are you
episode.
familiar with the Hag?
Yes.
Okay. I'm fascinated by the Hag, and for some reason it really creeps me out. The idea of the Hag is it's tied to sleep paralysis, I think. It's essentially a lot of cultures all over the world have this mythology of if you're sleeping, some creepy ass old lady is going to, I don't know, do shit to you when you're sleeping and you won't be able to move.
It's so weird that you mentioned that. Did you have something else to say? Because I have
No, go ahead.
When I was younger, I used to, and I have no idea why. I didn't have sleep paralysis, but like I would stay up well past my bedtime reading or writing. Mm-hmm. And I would do it until I scared myself enough that I want to go to sleep. And so don't ask.
Okay.
Don't ask. I'm a weirdo. I always have been. So
that's like saying I'm gonna smoke a bunch of meth until I'm like super jacked up and just want to go to sleep.
I mean, but at least mine's intellectual.
Fear is usually something that gives your body the stay awake chemicals.
Well, I am very odd.
Yes, you are.
You've known this for what, 36
years?
Yeah. Okay. So, but our house was, we were on the second story and we could climb out our window because there was what
a roof.
Yeah, okay. And we could sit on it, and I would always have this weird vision of like an old lady, and I can still see her face clearly in my mind of her just like popping up at my window. And I was afraid that it was going to happen. It never did because ghosts don't exist.
Yes.
But
old ladies do. I mean, it could have been.
And I'm going to turn into one. And I started seeing wrinkles under my eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, it's happening.
And then you're going to go back in time to when you were a child.
I thought
and
that.
You're going to be the old lady.
I thought that. And yes, which would actually make my life complete. Literally and figuratively. But
I want to go back to the roof outside of our bedroom windows because we were across the hall from each other. We had the same roof, obviously. Why the fuck were our parents so like, don't go out and sit on the roof? Like
I don't know, because I did it all the time.
I did it all the time too.
It was
I
like
fucking
my
loved it. It was
place.
awesome.
Yes,
yeah.
And there was like the forest and the lake.
Yeah,
you could see the lake from the window. Yeah,
well, it was a pond, but
okay. Yeah, true.
It's called White Pond.
No,
that was Black Pond.
It was Black Pond.
Yeah.
but I call it whatever. Lake
It's
pond.
just not a lake.
Anyway.
You just call it the sea.
I don't know why. I don't know if they thought we were going to fall off it or what.
They had such odd rule, like where they decided to draw the line on rules.
Yep. I can't. I've stopped trying to rationalize it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Just accept it for what it is.
Okay, so any other Gothic tropes that you noticed?
Well, the maiden.
I interrupted you with the hag
No, it's fine.
thing.
The last one, just for that episode, the maiden in distress, which the cousin. The only difference with this, though, it was very feminist in that she saved herself instead of like in your typical Gothic trope, the knight saves the maiden in distress. But yeah.
Interesting.
There's a whole list of them. I don't have them memorized. I'm a bad English professor.
This is why you're a PhD student and not a PhD.
Ooh, okay. Yes, I have 4 more years to memorize all
memorize that list. That's all you have to do to get your doctorate.
Yeah, that's
you just have to memorize that list.
I might never get it then.
Any other episodes that you distinctly remember as being cool? The Pinball Wizard one was the one that always, throughout my entire life, has stuck in my head.
Same.
Again, the 13th floor, the X-ray specs. Oh, we would be remiss if we didn't mention. We already mentioned Dr. Vink, who was a reoccurring character. The other major reoccurring character, who I think was more frequent than Dr. Vink, was Sardo. And as you referenced on the last episode,
Mr.
if I say
Sardo.
no, Mister, accent on the dough.
Yes.
He was a purveyor of like magic goods
Yep.
and things of this nature. I think he this was one of the other interesting things about Are You Afraid of the Dark? Each of the kids had their own like personality and through lines through their stories.
Oh yeah.
So I almost made the mistake. Sardo appeared in one of the kids' stories, but multiple times, multiple episodes. But he didn't appear in other kids' stories because Sardo was that kid's character.
Yeah.
Vink was another one. And as you touched on a little bit earlier when you were reading the description of the younger brother, a lot of them had like themes and stuff that were very common to there, which I thought just was cool. They didn't need to do that, and it was
definitely
just cool.
Well, and it also another thing that made it more realistic because they're coming into this with their own knowledge. They're not going to tell the same stories. They're not going to intermingle. They're going to, they conjured this up in their mind, so they created these characters. It was one thing I was thinking about with Pinball Wizard when I watched it earlier. I was like, is this the first escape room? Except there's no escape.
But
I was just like, as I'm watching it, I'm like, God, this is so escape room like.
I fucking love pinball, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I love video games and I love pinball. I would love to have a Tale of the Pinball Wizard pinball machine.
Absolutely.
Someone needs to make that, and I will pay a reasonable amount for it.
Have you ever been to Quarters Up?
No, what's that?
It's or maybe it's just Quarters. It's a bar in the valley with they have a whole row of pinball machines.
No way.
A bar.
Nice.
And a whole bunch of other like old school arcade games from like that you would find at the mall.
There's a place in Columbus that I don't remember the name of that has like old school arcade games, but they didn't have any pinball machines. But
yeah, this one has, and I always go to the Wizard of Oz pinball. And last time I was there, I put $4 worth of quarters in it, and it broke on me, and I had to get my money back.
Son of a bitch!
I was really sad.
Yeah,
but yeah. See, well, when I rewatched it, I only watched the first season.
Yeah.
So there's so many. I mean, we could
How many seasons were there? 4, I want to say 5.
Maybe 3.
I only count the original run.
Right.
I don't
think
count
it's 5 because then that's when 5.
Okay.
5 original, and then it comes back in 99.
Okay, and I think the comeback was 2 seasons, but I never watched any of those episodes and have no interest in.
It was 2. I have actually watched them all.
Any good?
One point. I mean, they're not bad. They're
fair enough.
Different.
All
mean,
right.
It doesn't have the nostalgia, but it still kind of does. I don't know.
Huh. Weird. They are remaking Are You Afraid of the Dark? I have no information on this because I do not care and I will not be watching it because everything is awful now and remakes are terrible.
It will be a limited miniseries. They have cast, I can't remember, obviously I don't know any of the actors, but I know one of them, one of the bad guys is going to be this creepy jester looking guy. He actually looks pretty cool, but I'm absolutely going to watch it because I am a sucker for punishment, and if they do a good job, I'll be happy.
They won't.
If they don't, yeah, well, our standards are
It'll
different.
be like the tale of the gender non-binary.
Maybe.
Okay, so since this entire episode is about Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was a horror anthology series, I thought we would talk about things that we're scared of. And I texted you the other day and told you to come up with, and I purposely didn't respond to your text because I wanted to do it on the show. You essentially said that you're not scared of anything.
Not much.
You said that there was one thing that you were scared of that was weird.
I have one phobia that's weird.
And then you said you're not scared of.
Not really.
I don't buy it. Like if somebody pointed a gun in your face, you wouldn't be scared.
Guns pointed in my face.
And you weren't scared.
Not at the time.
No,
seriously, because I have this weird thing that when I am faced with, I can keep a cool head when I'm faced with tragedy. And I might freak out afterwards, but it's not that I'm scared.
Okay, but isn't that freak out?
No, it's that I'm retroactively, because of my anxiety, thinking about all the things that could have happened.
Isn't anxiety just fear?
But it's
it all stems from fear.
It's not. It's different. I don't know how to explain it. It's not.
I suffer from anxiety too, which, by the way, I have started a new medication this week. I'm on my Zoloft, and I'm just going to pat myself on the back. Cheers to me, because I've been a zombie this fucking week, and I think I'm holding it down pretty well for this episode.
Good. Yes, you are. Good job. But see, I don't know how to explain it. So with my anxiety, one, I don't take anything for it. Well, that's not true. CBD oil really does work.
I've been wanting to try it. I've also been wanting to try topical CBD for my back pain. I haven't tried any CBD, but I've been wanting to.
It's legal in Indiana, which is where I go to school, and
CBD is legal here too, isn't it? In Ohio.
You need a prescription here.
I've seen it in a lot of stores.
Have you? Okay,
yeah.
Then they've changed it recently.
Okay.
I don't know.
How do you take it?
I vape it.
Okay.
And it even helps my knee problem.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
Just vaping it, it's.
And
it doesn't have to. I don't have to often either.
Now I know that CBD is the non-psychoactive part of marijuana, but I still have like an anxiety because not that I've ever done marijuana.
No.
But if I had done marijuana, it maybe would have exacerbated my anxiety at times.
I was also. I've also thought of the same thing, not because I know from experience. No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't believe my anxiety was just gone. I mean, it was like over freaking night.
Very curious to check it out.
But I think I might have social anxiety, but I still force myself to go do things. But it's one of those, it's like an ego anxiety that I deal with. And like that I'm going to make myself look like a dumbass when I do things, or that I'm afraid I'm not going to have a good time, even though I know that I am. So it's a complete ego driven anxiety that I have.
Do you hear what you just said?
What?
I'm afraid I'm not going to have a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, miss, I'm not afraid of anything.
But I'm not afraid of much. I'm not afraid of normal things that normal people are afraid of.
Fair enough.
Which, I mean, we could have had that whole texting conversation, but I try to keep my texts short.
Well, I don't want to have that conversation on text. I want to have it on the podcast.
But when it comes to phobias, I only have one.
Okay. Well, since before we move on to that, I'm afraid of a lot of shit. I'm a fucking scared ass. I am fucking terrified of life in general.
You always have been.
Yes, I've always been a big old pussy.
Yep.
But when I also have in me the same thing that you do. When shit goes down, I'm able to get it together and handle business. But I just fucking walk around terrified. My anxiety manifests, and it always has manifested, in being convinced that I'm having a heart attack or a stroke. So I am terrified of heart attacks and strokes. And I realized not too long ago that this actually was went back as far as I want to say 8th, maybe 9th grade. But something in health class with Mrs. Sperm. That wasn't her name. There it was. I knew it wasn't sperm, but I knew we all called it.
Yeah, our sister was sperm. Anyway,
but for some reason, a memory of being in that class and something about heart attacks came up, and it was like, what are some reasons that you might not call the ambulance if you feel these kind of symptoms? And I raised my hand and I was like, embarrassment in case you're not having a heart attack. And she was like, yeah, I guess. Because even back then, I used to be convinced I was having a heart attack, but wouldn't say anything because I was embarrassed if I wasn't having a heart attack, being the kid that cried heart attack. And even at 35, I don't want to be the kid that cried heart attack.
I know. I want to know what happened that put heart attack in your mind. Now, I will let you know that I am no psychologist. I haven't even, I know nothing about practicing psychology. However, I did sit down with Matt and figured out why he was afraid of spiders. And ever since then, he's been better with spiders.
Really?
Because we went back into his childhood and figured out the exact moment
that a spider molested him.
Yes. I'm sorry to put you on blast on the podcast. But no, it was just
no, it was a guy dressed as Spider-Man.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. But no, just seriously. So and knowing that, I have tried to figure out where my phobia stems from, and I cannot. My brain has locked that shit away. I don't know.
I can tell where my anxiety is stemming from. For example, like if something big is going to be happening in my life, like right now I'm going to be transitioning between places, that will trigger my anxiety. I don't know why the symptoms are what they are, though. Like, I don't know where those fears of heart attack and stroke and all that come from.
Yeah, that's what we need to figure out. We don't have to do it on podcast, but maybe we should. I was going to say, maybe we could do Melissa's Orange Couch, and you can lie out, and we can figure this out. But,
okay, so enough about anxiety, though. Let's get into the fun stuff, the phobias. I've got a really fucking weird one that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but I want to hear yours first.
Mine is slugs and snails.
Really?
Well, and worms.
I knew you hated them. I didn't know that you had a phobia.
I have literally ran away from them before, which is funny because they can't chase me, at least not very fast. One time, Matt to this day claims that I stepped on a potato peel, but I thought that it was a slug. I still don't believe him that it wasn't a slug. And
where was this?
On a front porch.
Why would you have potato peels on your front porch?
No, it wasn't. Our friend was cooking or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But they also had these long banana slugs that were like all over the place. And I thought I stepped on one. I didn't look. I screamed. I cried. I ran back into the house. And to this day, I do not believe
Why?
him.
You slayed the banana slug. You conquered your fear.
Then, even worse.
Is it a fear or is it a revulsion?
No, it's like a legit...
okay, because one of my phobias is I'm not scared of it. I'm repulsed by it. Like, it disgusts me, and
I think all of the above.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I found out there are deadly slugs, sea slugs, that will kill you.
Yeah, but they live in the sea.
But I love the ocean.
Ugh.
I don't spend as much time in it as I'd like.
I hate the ocean.
But they're
like looking at the ocean.
Monsters galore. And it's like this deep, dark abyss.
No,
I love
okay,
it.
look, I should say, I love the ocean. I'm fascinated by it. I think it's awesome and interesting. I don't ever want to fucking go in it.
This is going to sound so basic, bitch, but I should have been a mermaid.
That does sound basic,
it does.
bitch.
But no, only because you can ask Mom. I've loved water my entire life. She used to yell at me because I showered or bathed too often.
That's because you're an Aquarius.
Jesus Christ. Which I never understood why we were the air sign and not the water sign when we're water bearers. I don't know.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why am I trying to make sense of astrology?
I don't know. But the one time the dog, I let him out in the middle of the night. And I was petting him, and I felt something wet in his fur, and I'm like, I I should have known better, but I get my cell phone out and I look cell phone, and I turn on the flashlight and there's a slug in his fur.
Ew.
And I start freaking out like this. It was like an anxiety attack, which to that point, I didn't know what an anxiety attack felt like.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what happened. And like, I was freaking out. And yeah, to this day.
You know what's weird? I don't know that I've ever seen a slug in real life.
Oh my God. They're all over our freaking house.
No, wait. Yes, I have. I was thinking of a snail. Never mind.
Snails, you could just go to like a pet store that has fish. They usually have snails in them.
I'm not that
Snails
interested.
aren't nearly as bad, but they're still horrible. They're just slugs with houses. Like, yeah.
They're slugs that got their shit together.
Right. But yeah, that and I'm not quite. I think worms are more of the revulsion. I'm not nearly as. I can actually watch a worm slink around, and I've gotten very close to touching one, but if they touch me, I freak out.
So if you are the one initiating the touch, you're fine.
Well, I haven't actually been able to initiate it. I've
the
just
way you
gotten
said that, it was
very
like I was going to touch a worm, but then it touched me, and fuck that. It's like a very stripper policy.
well, which also deals with worms. But I mean, you opened the door.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, anyway,
Okay, so my phobia. I have two phobias. One one actually has a name that I always forget, and I'm never gonna Google it.
Slugs is mollusk phobia, by the way.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Right. I don't remember worms. It's some weird long. Anyway.
Yeah. Most phobias have a name where like the part before phobia is based on like a Latin or Greek kind of.
There is a Melissophobia.
Is it fear of Melissas?
Bees.
Really?
Melissa means honeybee.
What?
Yeah.
Since when?
Since my always. Anyway, go ahead. Your phobias.
Okay, so the first one, it's called something like tryptophobia or something like that. And this one, I'm not scared. I'm fucking. It makes me angry and sickened when I see things that have like a lot of holes in it.
I've heard of it.
Or things that are like clusters. Like if I see an anthill, it drives me fucking, but like I have to destroy it. And this is the thing. Like I said, it's not a fear. It fills me with like uncontrollable rage where like I have to destroy this thing that I'm looking at.
I don't understand. I've seen there are all over like Snapchat and Instagram and are people like assholes that post those pictures, and I'm like, I just look at them and there's nothing, and I don't understand.
I don't know what it is, but it's like even thinking about it, like
I can tell.
There was the first time that I ever tried to Google what it was called, and Google Images popped up. It was a picture of a foot that had something really fucked up wrong with it, and there were a bunch of holes in the foot. Ugh. Even thinking of like anytime I talk about this, that picture pops in my head, and it just like I want to just fucking scrape the foot. I want to scrape it and get those fucking holes evened out. Like,
oh my,
it drives me
so
bonkers.
Does honeycomb bother you then?
Oddly enough, no. It's very inconsistent.
I mean, well, but honeycomb's delicious too.
I think what it has to do with honeycomb is ordered. Like there's,
okay.
but things that are like
fair,
sporadic, or there's no order to them, I think are the ones that really fucking.
That's fair.
Yeah. The one that is actually a fear, and this is, it's
I bet I know what it is.
I bet you don't. I'd like to hear you guess.
Changed since you were a little kid?
I don't know. I don't know what I was scared of as a little kid.
Heights?
Oh, no. Yeah, I forgot I was scared. Yeah,
okay.
I don't love heights. Yeah, I'd say I'd still have a fear of heights, but that's
okay.
Not interesting.
Okay, fair enough.
Like I said, I'm scared of everything. So
yeah, you did.
This is it's a conditional fear. It only happens when I'm like sleepy, like if I'm half asleep, or like if I've just woken up and I'm not fully awake.
Fear of heart attacks?
No, that's constant. Fear of very large numbers. Like I'll be laying down to go to bed. And if I'm not able to easily fall asleep, if my mind starts going, like let's say the air conditioning kicks on, I'll start thinking, okay, that's going to up the electric bill. How fucking much do hotels have to pay in their electric bill? And then the numbers start and like a huge number, and I start like freaking out, like I can't handle thinking about the large, and it's not just with money things. It's like, and I used to have a recurring dream when I was younger where I was in my bedroom at our old house, and it was just covered in dead leaves, and there was like a doctor's office waiting room kind of vibe going on, and it was my turn to go in and weigh the leaves because there was a scale in the bathroom, and I weighed the leaves, and the person that was taking the numbers was like, it's 3 billion pounds of leaves, and the dream fucking terrified me.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have a question then. So does it terrify you to think about the infiniteness of space?
No.
Oh.
Like, it can get a little like trippy, like a little head fucky sometimes, but it's not.
The reason I ask is it's like numbers are sublime for you, which is a whole literature thing. We're not going to go on. The Sublime and Beautiful. Read Edmund Burke's The Sublime and Beautiful.
I'm definitely not going to do that.
Do it.
So just explain it to me.
Okay, so
like, I know what the word sublime means, but in that context, I don't get it.
Yeah, well, it's the sublime is something that evokes fear. That is, I don't know exactly. I can never summarize anything concisely. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah, which is what I have to teach people to do. But like, I hope my students don't find this.
But the fear is specifically with large. It's not like a magnitude. Like Lovecraftian horror was a lot of it was about magnitude. It's not that. Although I do, like I said, I'm scared of everything.
Well, the reason I asked about space
numbers.
is because, like, thinking
like
about,
if I think about how many stars there are,
right,
that would freak me the fuck out. But again, it's conditional. It's only when I'm sleepy.
Right. First off, I want someone to study your brain.
I want someone to study my brain.
I really want to understand that.
Jungle gym in there.
If anybody else that's listening has this issue,
yes,
please. We need to know.
Yes, 100%. Either comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Comment if you're listening to this in the podcast. Tweet at me TDM Experience or Instagram at TDM Experience. Please, if anybody that's listening, I've never met anybody that had this kind of fear before. I don't understand.
I mean, I've heard of like the fear of number 13, but that's
13 is a small number. I'm fine with it.
Exactly. That's what
I'm very comfortable with 13.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And when did this start?
Like I said, that recurring dream was when I was younger. Like, it's been.
See, now when I think about worms, I wonder if part of that is. Do you remember when we were little and we were digging up worms? We lived on Maslin Road. We were digging up worms, but I wouldn't touch them. Yeah, I wouldn't touch them, and I made you put them in the bucket.
Yeah, it sounds like something you'd do.
And somehow
that sounds exactly like the dynamic of our relationship when we were younger.
And you just did it.
Well, otherwise you're going to run me over with your bike.
Fair enough. Well, that was also where. Do you remember throwing the maggots at Mom?
No, that's funny.
It was on Maslin, yeah, because I guess they were in the trash, and Dad showed them to you. You picked them up, you took them over, and you wanted to show them to her. She was barefoot, and you threw them at her, and she freaked out. I remember. I'm so glad I have those memories.
Maggots, though, funny you bring that up, play into the tryptophobia or whatever. Any swarms of anything.
I do have a little issue with maggots.
Well, maggots are disgusting.
Well, aside from the fact that they're disgusting, just the way they move, that does freak me out. It's not a fear, but it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
Ugh. Now I'm all disturbed. I need a cigarette break. And any other? Let me ask you this: what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
The scariest movie? Scary movie? No.
Those Wayans brothers, really?
Yeah. Well, God, I don't know.
I feel like you might be having the same struggle that I do, because even though I am scared of everything, scary movies generally don't scare me. That's not the reason I watch them.
Right, same.
Yeah.
They haven't scared me for a really long time.
Yeah.
But then I'm also like, if something does weird me out or make me apprehensive, like, I face that shit, which I think is why I say that nothing scares me, because my fight or flight is just like I'm confronting it. Because I don't fly.
A lot of people forget the third option of that. It's fight, flight, or freeze. I freeze.
Yeah, no.
I fucking freeze. If something truly scares me, like, I have this like whenever I have nightmares or something, if something is like chasing me or something like that, all the time in my dream, all I do is like just stop. I try to make myself as small as possible.
You know what though? Being chased for a long time, like I think I've come to terms with the fact that like it doesn't bother me anymore because I know that I have bad knees, so there's no running away. It's just like the fight would have to kick in.
Okay.
But when I was younger, chasing was an issue. Like I did not like being chased.
Yeah. Funny that you say that because my dreams, I always get found when I freeze. And then I have to fight because like a monster is holding me or something. And the way that I fight in my dreams is it's funny to me where I'm just like fuck off. Like just like like come on, dude.
I was
quit.
expecting you to do like the batting of your hands.
No.
Yeah. See, but in my like anytime I've had dreams, I kill things. I had a professor, I loved him. He was my favorite undergrad professor. He turned into a zombie. I killed him with a shovel. Like
you got to do what you got to do.
Told him about it the next day, and ever since then, shovel is like my zombie apocalypse weapon of choice.
I don't think that's a great weapon of choice for a zombie apocalypse.
Why? You can bash him over the head, and then
you're not going to get enough torque on a swinging a shovel.
The first rule of Zombieland is cardio. I'm fucked because I'm a poor fat bastard.
Sure.
Yeah, but in my mind,
if you can make it to Sam's Club, that's where I'm going to be setting up shop if the zombies come.
Yeah. I was thinking either that or like a Dick's or a
Sam's Club.
But Sam's Club does have all the food. But Costco would be another one.
I've never been to Costco.
But it's kind of far away. It's basically a Sam's Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anywhere.
But if your cardio can get you to Sam's Club.
My car can get me to Sam's Club.
Yes.
I will have enough gas because I
go.
always keep gas in my car. But yeah, when I was, I'm trying to, there's a Tales from the Crypt episode that, because I think it came on at 10 p.m., which was well past my bedtime. Mm-hmm. I would stay up anyway and watch it in the dark. And most of, like, 99% of them didn't freak me out. There was one that scared the shit out of me. I went back and watched it as an adult, and I'm like, why did this ever scare me? I didn't understand it. But
I have an example of that when you're done.
It was called Television Terror. So, like, go and watch it. I don't know what it was about it. I still to this day do, but it scared the shit out of me.
I'll watch it. I don't remember it, so I don't know anything about it.
It's like the best. Anyway, yeah, it was the best episode.
There was something that scared me as a kid that like really fucking, like, I don't remember why. It's one of those like primal memories that you don't really remember, but you feel it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I found out as an adult, this was a lighthearted children's movie. I don't remember what the Boogity Man or something like that. It was a guy that went oogity boogity boo.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it was like a friendly poltergeist.
Maybe,
but I have a primal, like, visceral, like memory of being terrified.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
This friendly poltergeist going oogity boogity boo.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I'm a big fucking pussy.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of everything.
You can admit it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's one reason I love horror video games, because those do get me. There are a lot.
Yeah.
And we actually, I think, had a conversation. I don't know if you remember it when I first started, when I got my PlayStation 4. I'm like, this stuff isn't going to scare me.
Yeah, I do.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I can admit that I was wrong because, like, I can watch, there are horror movies. I mean, the jump scares, might get me here and there, but I'll walk through a haunted house and just be like, if they make me move in any way, if I like barely jump, I'm like, good job, you got me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But no, horror video games are great.
Yeah, it's so funny. I fucking love horror video games, but they're the most stressful thing in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, and it's so funny. Sometimes if I'm like super stressed out, like I can feel like something's gonna be coming up, I start like playing like a pussy. Like I'm walking as slowly as possible. Like I'm taking the corners as widely as possible to try to see what's coming up. But yeah, I've one of the reasons that I love horror video games is it's a weird release for my anxiety, actually.
Yeah.
Like it makes me feel anxious about something that there's a legitimate cause for the anxiety.
Well, not only that, but you're in control of the controller. So I'm psychoanalyzing you.
Yes,
but
yeah.
Well, there are multiple times on my Twitch stream, and all my videos are watchable. Like what I said about being chased, so I played Dead by Daylight mostly, and a lot of it is being chased by the killer. Even then, so I guess I can't even say that I've accepted my chasing, because there are multiple times that you will hear me yelling, like, "No, get away from me!" I actually have like a 30-second clip. I think it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre killer was chasing me, and I'm screaming, and then I ran out of breath.
Do you really not remember the name Leatherface?
Thank you. Yeah, as soon as I'm like, I haven't had my ADHD medicine in a month. Leave me alone. I'm doing well too.
Fair enough.
Thank you. But yeah, anyway, it's a funny clip.
Do you want to plug your Twitch stream?
Dr. Gothic.
Dr. Gothic on Twitch. Yeah, we got kind of far away from talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark, but it was related. We were talking about fears and stuff. Anything else you want to say about Are You Afraid of the Dark before we wrap up?
No, it was great.
Yeah.
It helped form my childhood and now my adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so weird, the different divergent paths that we took. Like, we both love horror, but like our reactions to like, I'm a big scared pussy and you're not.
Nope.
Like,
But I never have been.
And I always have been.
Yeah, even when I was younger, I wasn't even tall enough. Well, okay, you can make a short joke, but I wasn't tall enough to turn on any lights. And Mom told me that like my favorite nightgown was in the wash or in the dirty clothes.
You went into the goddamn basement, that creepy ass basement in the dark?
All by myself.
Oh, fuck that.
Like, she said that she was talking to me. All of a sudden, I'm not there.
There was that weird face painted on the wall for no reason.
Wrong. No, this was Massillon.
Oh, okay.
Where you don't remember.
Okay,
no, because I was like, I was tall enough to turn the lights on.
Were you, though?
Yes, fuck you. But, no, yeah, she said that I went down and I went all the way down into the basement from the second floor without turning on the lights. Like, the dark does not scare me.
Not only would I be terrified of that, I'm apparently also way clumsier than you, because there's no way I would have survived going down 2 flights of stairs in the dark.
My nickname was Missy Breaks a Lot.
Yeah.
I'm clumsy, but yeah.
Well, Missy Breaks a Lot. Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know which episode we're going to be doing next week. I think it might be the Pete and Pete episode. Either way, it'll continue the summer of Snick. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Pop Culture Spectrum.
Bye.